So, this all went down on Valentine's Day, and honestly, I still can't believe it happened. I'm writing this partly because I need to get it out of my system, and partly because I can't stop replaying the moment I got that text. My girlfriend and I had been together for just over 2 years. We lived together for most of that time, and I genuinely thought she was my person. I supported her through everything, helped pay her rent when she was in college, bought her books, took her on trips, and even helped her land her first real job after graduation. She wasn't spoiled, she just had a tough start, and I didn't mind being her safety net because I loved her. But over the last few months, something had changed. She was distant, not in a dramatic, obvious way, but in that subtle, creeping kind of way where you just feel it in your gut. She'd start laughing at her phone and lock the screen the second I looked over. Her text tone changed. She stopped saying, "I love you" first. Whenever I asked what was wrong, she'd sigh and say, "It's just stress, babe. Don't make everything about you." So I didn't. I convinced myself I was overthinking things. Fast forward to the week before Valentine's Day. I'd spent weeks planning a surprise trip for her, a cozy cabin getaway, champagne, the works. She'd been hinting that I wasn't romantic enough lately, so I wanted to do something meaningful, something to remind her that I still adored her. The night before Valentine's, she was acting jittery. She kept checking her phone, packing and unpacking a small suitcase. I asked where she was going, and she smiled that fake, tight smile she uses when she's lying. "It's just girl stuff," she said. "You'll see tomorrow." I figured maybe she had a surprise plan for me too. Maybe we were both trying to outdo each other romantically. The next morning, I woke up alone. Her side of the bed was empty, but her phone charger was gone. She'd left a note on the counter that just said, "Don't worry about me today. I'll explain soon." At first, I didn't think much of it. I made coffee, opened my laptop, and started my day. Then, around 10 a.m., my phone buzzed. It was a text from her. "I'm flying to meet my online boyfriend for Valentine's. I need to find what makes we happy." I swear my brain short-circuited. I just stared at the screen, rereading it again and again. Online boyfriend, flying to meet him, and she was using my money to do it? For a solid minute, I just sat there, completely still, waiting for it to turn out to be some kind of sick joke. Then reality hit me like a truck. I checked our shared credit card account, and sure enough, there it was, a one-way plane ticket charged that morning, airport cafe purchase, rideshare to the terminal, all on my card. That was when something inside me just flipped. I didn't scream, I didn't break anything, I didn't even cry. I just went cold. I called the credit card company, reported the card lost, and canceled it on the spot. The woman on the other end asked if I wanted to freeze the account or issue a new card. I told her, "Please freeze it immediately. Someone's using it to betray me." Then I sat back, took a deep breath, and pictured her at the airport, standing in line, trying to check in, watching the machine flash declined. At first, I thought maybe that was enough. Maybe that was all the revenge I needed. But then my phone started buzzing. 5 missed calls, then 8, then 12. Finally, my phone rang again, but this time the caller ID just said unknown. I answered. It was her, crying. Apparently, she'd made it all the way through security and tried to buy something before boarding, only to have the card decline. She tried calling me from her cell, but when she realized I wasn't picking up, she found a payphone. Her voice cracked as she spoke. They won't let me board. My card's not working. Please help me. I'm stuck here. I sat there in silence for a few seconds. Then I asked, "So, where's your online boyfriend? Can't he help you?" She went quiet, then started sobbing harder. "Please, I made a mistake. Just help me get home." I could have yelled. I could have told her exactly how betrayed I felt, but I didn't. I just said, "You wanted to fly to another man for Valentine's. Maybe he can buy your ticket." Then I hung up. She tried calling again, but I blocked her. Later that day, I got a text from one of her friends saying she'd been stranded at the airport for hours before her mom had to come get her. Apparently, her online boyfriend stopped replying the moment she told him her card didn't work. I wish I could say I felt guilty, but I didn't, not even for a second. I spent that Valentine's Day alone, eating takeout and watching a movie I'd been saving for our weekend trip. It wasn't romantic, but it was peaceful. For the first time in months, my chest didn't feel heavy. That night, she texted me again from her mom's phone. It was a long, rambling paragraph about how she'd felt emotionally neglected and that she needed to explore what she really wanted. I didn't respond. Instead, I opened the folder on my computer where I'd saved our trip reservations, the cabin, the dinner, everything, and deleted all of it. Just like that. Gone. And as weird as it sounds, that simple click felt better than any argument ever could. She wanted to fly to another man for Valentine's. Instead, she spent it crying in an airport lobby, realizing her free flight was over. Hey, Reddit. I didn't think I'd be writing an update to this whole disaster, but yeah, here we are. A lot happened after I left my ex stranded at the airport, and I can safely say it was equal parts chaos, karma, and clarity. When I hung up that payphone call, I thought it was over. I figured she'd catch a ride home, maybe crash at a friend's place, and we'd never speak again. But I underestimated how dramatic she could be when things didn't go her way. She came home that same evening, hair a mess, makeup smudged, suitcase dragging behind her like a scarlet letter of shame. The first thing she said wasn't an apology. It was a scream. "You stranded me! Do you know what could have happened to me? I could have been hurt!" I just stood there, arms crossed, watching her meltdown. I'd been calm all day, but seeing her face to face again reignited everything. The disbelief, the betrayal, the anger I'd been suppressing. So I told her, "You stranded us the moment you booked a flight to cheat." She froze for a second, then started crying again. Not out of guilt, more like frustration that I wasn't playing along with her victim act. She threw out lines like, "You could have just talked to me, and it was just a stupid mistake." I didn't argue. I told her to pack her things. She tried calling her online boyfriend from my living room, but I could hear the one-sided conversation. "Hey, I'm back home. Can you... Hello? Hello?" He'd blocked her. Apparently, he was married. The online boyfriend she risked everything for was just some middle-aged guy from another state who'd been feeding her lies for months. He never planned to meet her. Once he realized she was serious enough to show up at the airport, he ghosted. So there she was. No backup plan, no boyfriend, no money, and no credit card. She ended up calling her mom for a ride and left in tears, muttering something about how I'd ruined everything. I didn't stop her. The next few weeks were interesting. She texted me twice that first week. Both times she claimed she'd made a mistake and just wanted to feel wanted.
She said I'd been too focused on work lately, that she felt invisible, and that the online guy just made her feel special. I read the messages, then deleted them. No response. I won't lie, the silence after she left was strange at first. The apartment felt emptier, quieter. I half expected her to burst through the door, smiling like nothing had happened. But as the days passed, that quiet started to feel peaceful, healing. I started using my free time for myself again, hit the gym, took up cooking for fun instead of ordering out every night, reconnected with friends I'd been too busy to see. My productivity at work skyrocketed. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't walking on eggshells around someone else's moods. Then the real entertainment began. Apparently, my ex decided to tell her version of the story to our mutual friends. Except in her version, I was the controlling boyfriend who abandoned her at an airport out of jealousy. At first, a few people actually reached out, asking what had happened. I didn't want drama, but I also wasn't going to let her twist the truth. So I calmly posted 2 screenshots in our group chat. One of her text saying she was flying to meet her online boyfriend, and one of the credit card charge for the flight. The chat went dead silent for about 30 seconds. Then came the reactions. Wait, she used your card? Bruh. She really said that to you over text? That was the end of her sympathy campaign. Within a week, everyone knew the truth. She went from trying to play the victim to being the punchline. People started referring to her as Airport Girl. Even her best friend, who used to defend her no matter what, texted me to say, "I'm so sorry, she really messed up." Because embarrassment apparently wasn't enough, she decided to double down online. I got sent a screenshot from one of her posts on Facebook that read something like, "Ladies, if your man ever cancels your credit card just because you're trying to find yourself, run." The comments were glorious. People immediately asked, "Find yourself where? The airport? Or did you mean find yourself a hotel after your flight got declined?" She deleted it within hours. At that point, even I started laughing. It wasn't a cruel laugh, more like a tired, relieved one. For so long, I'd been bending over backwards trying to make that relationship work, not realizing I was pouring energy into someone who'd already checked out emotionally. Seeing her dig her own hole online just confirmed I'd made the right call. If you'd asked me a month ago how I felt about her, I would have said angry, betrayed, maybe even vengeful. But now, honestly, I just feel free. That day at the airport wasn't just the end of our relationship. It was the end of me trying to fix someone who didn't want to be fixed. It taught me something valuable. Sometimes revenge doesn't have to be loud or dramatic. Sometimes it's just quietly reclaiming your peace while the other person self-destructs. I won't pretend I didn't enjoy the poetic justice of her being stranded. I absolutely did. But what surprised me was how much better it felt afterward to just move on, to not text her back, to not care about what she posted, to wake up every day knowing I dodged a lifetime of manipulation disguised as love. And because the universe has a sense of humor, something unexpected happened a few weeks later. One of my coworkers, Jenna, someone who'd always been kind, funny, and easy to talk to, invited me out for coffee after work. I almost said no, thinking I wasn't ready, but I went anyway. We talked for hours about everything. She told me she'd read my face like an open book during those rough weeks and knew something was wrong, but didn't want to pry. She just wanted to make me smile again. We've been talking regularly ever since. Nothing serious yet, but it's nice. It's simple. There are no games, no secrets, no girl stuff excuses, just honesty. And that, more than anything, feels like healing. I don't know if karma is real, but watching my ex's lies unravel one by one felt pretty close. She lost her dignity, her imaginary boyfriend, and her audience, all while I gained my peace back. People sometimes ask if I'd take her back if she showed up apologizing in person. My answer's always the same. She's already gotten her round trip from my life to the airport and back. Turns out the best revenge wasn't leaving her stranded. It was walking away without looking back.
Hey Reddit, it's been about 6 months since I left my ex stranded at the airport. Life has done a complete 180 since then, and if you told me back then I'd be writing this from a place of peace, I would have laughed in disbelief. But here we are, calmer, wiser, and definitely happier. The first few weeks after everything went down were awkward. Friends kept checking in. Co-workers whispered about the whole airport girlfriend thing, and I had to explain the story more times than I wanted to. But as time went on, people stopped bringing it up. I started focusing on myself, and slowly, the entire situation turned into something I could actually smile about. 6 months later, I'm in a much better place. Work's been great. I got promoted to a senior position a few months ago, which came with a nice pay bump. I started traveling more. Ironically, I'm the one doing the flying now. And my mental health, better than it's been in years. As for my love life, Jenna and I are still seeing each other. Things are easy between us. No drama, no secrets, no unexpected airport trips. She's kind in a way I didn't know I needed. She makes me feel seen, respected, and calm. We haven't rushed into anything. It's just been steady, genuine happiness. Life was smooth, predictable, until the universe decided to throw one last curveball. One evening, I got a text from an unknown number. No profile photo, no name, just, "Hey, I know I'm probably the last person you want to hear from, but I wanted to make amends." I didn't have to guess who it was. There was a familiar tone in those words, the mix of guilt and entitlement only my ex could pull off. At first, I ignored it, but then she texted again the next day. This time she said, "I just want to talk. I'm not trying to get back together. I just need to apologize properly." I didn't respond, not because I was angry, I just didn't care enough anymore. But curiosity got the better of me, and I asked a mutual friend if he'd heard from her lately. That's when I learned just how far she'd fallen. Apparently, after our breakup, she tried dating another guy, someone she met through a local event. He found out about the airport story, small-town gossip travels fast, and broke things off almost immediately. She then tried to spin the story again online, but every time she posted something, people would bring up the screenshots from months ago. To make matters worse, she'd racked up debt. Without my financial help, she started missing credit payments. Her car got repossessed. The last straw? That online boyfriend she tried flying out to meet, the married man, had apparently been using her photos to catfish other women. When she found out, she tried reporting him, but all she got in return was public embarrassment. Karma didn't just circle back, it bought a first-class ticket straight to her doorstep. A few weeks after that text, I ran into her completely by accident. I was at the mall grabbing coffee with Jenna when I noticed a familiar figure standing in line at a clothing store. She looked tired, not just physically, but emotionally drained. Her hair was unkempt, her clothes wrinkled, her posture slouched like she'd been carrying too many regrets. She spotted me before I could turn away. Her eyes widened, and for a split second, I saw the same manipulative spark, the one that used to make me second-guess myself. She walked over slowly, forcing a smile. "Hey," she said softly, "you look good. Been a while, huh?" I just nodded. I wasn't nervous or angry, just detached. She kept talking, filling the silence. I wanted to reach out. I really am sorry about everything. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I wanted to say it anyway. I could have launched into a speech. I could have reminded her of every lie, every excuse, every tear she didn't mean. But instead, I smiled politely, sipped my coffee, and said, "Hope your flight worked out." Then I turned and walked away. The look on her face, that split-second realization that she no longer had any power over me, was better than any revenge plan I could have come up with. That encounter closed a chapter I didn't even realize was still open. I didn't walk away angry. I didn't feel the rush of satisfaction I expected. What I felt was peace. Real, genuine peace. Because here's the thing. For the longest time, I thought revenge was about getting even, about making the other person hurt like you did. But it's not. Revenge is about letting go so completely that their existence no longer affects your mood. She taught me a hard lesson about trust, but she also taught me something more important. I'd rather be alone than be with someone who only loves me when it's convenient. Now when people mention her or the airport story, I just smile. It's not a sore memory anymore. It's a reminder of how far I've come. The guy who once felt shattered by a text message is now standing on his own 2 feet, happy, stable, and surrounded by people who actually care. Sometimes I still think about that Valentine's morning, about how a single text changed everything. But in hindsight, that moment wasn't the end of my story. It was the start of a better one. She traded loyalty for adventure and ended up stranded, not just at an airport, in life. And me? I didn't leave her behind. She left herself.